Good morning and welcome everyone back to a quick tip with myself, Mike, and Zoe. Welcome back, Zoe, from the Microsoft product team. We're going to go a little bit more in depth around using some DAX queries in some creative ways. Zoe, take us away and let's dive into where else can we use DAX and how much we love it and how we should use it in all the different places, particularly inside Excel.
Absolutely. Yeah, so thank you, Mike, for having me again. And so I've done a couple series with you with kind of writing DAX queries, how you write DAX queries. But now I kind of want to show you how can you kind of get that DAX query somewhere else where you can kind of rewrite, like Excel, right?
Yeah.
Right, so I have one that I have bookmarked. So let me go and grab that. Right, so I'm going to open up this DAX query in the web.
And do you mind, Zoe, if there's a little share message there just popped up there in the middle of your screen? You just hide that if you don't mind. There you go. Perfect.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we're good. Right. Thank you.
So now this one's actually one that I bookmarked. And the way it works in the web when you're using DAX Query View is it doesn't actually save your DAX queries, but there is actually a way to put them in the URL. Okay. Now it's a little tricky. We don't have a button that'll create this for you, but I have the steps if you want to do it. And Michael Kowalski with his Semantic Link Labs actually built me a function to kind of easily create these. Right. So here's my query and I can run it here. And it's just going to go. This is the regional sales sample from, if you go to Learn, you can go and download that into your workspace and you can run this and then you can run queries on it. Right.
Just context. This is not desktop. This is only in PowerBI.com, the service, and we're using a model that's somewhere in the service. So this is all service-based URL that we're talking about here. Yes. Okay.
Correct.
Just confirming.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, and so you can actually, in this URL here, I can put in kind of query equals. And now you'll notice that the query, I have one already here, right? And it's this kind of gobbledygook kind of look. Here, what it does is this is just encoded. And so I'll show you how you can do that and then what you can do once you have it there is you can bookmark it, you can copy, I can paste it to somebody else who has access to queries on this thing. And so here I have my notebook where I created this. Actually, I think I want to go to this one, right? So I actually added in, if you go down to DAX query in the web, you'll see there's instructions here on link sharing of a query, right? So you can add it as a parameter in the URL, but you have to gzip and base64 encode it to kind of fit it in there, right? I have a very simple example here, but then if you get longer or the double quotes, you can't just put this directly in the URL, and we kind of want to compress it a bit. And so that's what the gzip base64 encoding. Now, people probably already know how to do the base64 encoding from adding images. Right? You add images in Power BI, you can base64 it. Now they get really big, right? So it's been kind of nice that was gzipped as well, because I've definitely maxed out that trick many times. And so you can add it in a URL, just put in the URL for DAX Query View, which is, with your workspace ID, your semantic model ID, and then you have that kind of query. And it looks like this when it's gzip and base64.
So basically, so just to be clear, we're not saving these queries into the DAX Query View. What you're doing is you're saying, go to this page, and by the way, I'm going to supply you the query that I'm going to save for you or show you, and that's in this little encoded snippet there, and it can interpret that, unpack it, and then put the code back in for us.
Exactly. And so,
very cool. Okay, now I understand.
And if you want to see an example, like how to do this with Semantic Link Labs, right, this is the code you'd have to kind of run, and I have that over here, right? So I did the install of Semantic Link Labs, and then down here I provided my query, and in his it makes it easier. He just says, just put the name of your semantic model, and then if you're in the same workspace, you don't have to provide that, and he would generate that link. And then all I did is bookmark this link. Now, when it loads up in DAX Query View, it wipes out that query in the URL, so you'll have to kind of bookmark it manually. And now if you don't want to use Semantic Link Labs, it's actually not that tricky to do it just in Python. So if you want to just run in like VS Code or something like that, or if you have maybe an account of Python installed, you can actually just run this kind of function. And I just had Copilot help me build this. And this is just using these libraries here and building a function that will do the exact same thing as what Michael has provided. And then I also have a decode version if you wanted to kind of see, maybe you got a link and you're like, I want to see what this is first. But it won't run automatically. So even if you run it if you just click on the link, then it won't just auto run. You have to actually run it yourself afterwards. Anyway, so I have this query. And so I'm able to bookmark this query now. I'm able to kind of share it. But I want to actually run this in Excel, right? And there's a number of ways to do it, but I think the easiest way is utilizing kind of the Power BI pane. And let me show you how to do that. Right, so here I'm in Excel, and if I go to data and I go to get data, I have from Power Platform, from Power BI. Open up this Power BI pane over here. And
By
now,
the way, I'm just extremely happy that you're in Excel right now. This is just, tickling all the old days where I would spend a lot of time in Excel. It just makes me very happy that you're in Excel thinking about DAX inside Excel now. So this is just, it makes my heart happy. Sorry, just to interject there real quick.
I also was huge. I mean, I started out with Excel first and then Power BI.
Most people did.
So I love it. I wish there were actually more paths in Excel to Power BI, but that's a different topic. All right, so now you have these two options here. One is insert pivot table. I don't think I did zoom it again. No, I don't think I've zoomed it on this computer. Anyway, so I have this insert pivot table and I have insert table. Now, insert pivot table will do that kind of, I would say, pivot table connected to the entire model, which is not what I'm wanting to do today. I just want to insert table. Now, what this does is it opens up that kind of paginated report builder, which is really just honestly, a query builder. And this one, I can't get out of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in a simple measure and say insert table. Now, this will kind of visually show you can filter and all this stuff. But really, the point is I just wanted to build a connection for me. And so I'm going to insert the table there. And it's going to go ahead and authenticate. I'm going to bring that in. So I think I have the query. I think I copied the query. Let me just double check. So now you see that exact same what it showed me, but now it's in a table, right?
Yep.
Now, if I click on this and I go to data, I always click properties, which isn't what you want. And then you go to queries and connections. And now it's going to show you that connection it made to that semantic model, right? Okay. And then here now I'm going to hit properties. Right now, if you go to the definition, you'll see this should look
very
familiar, right? This looks like a DAX query because it is a DAX query. All right, so I'm going to go back to, let's see here, and I'm going to copy this query.
Oh, interesting. So you're using DAX Query View to kind of like really structure the table because the syntax is essentially the same. It's the evaluate statement you're running directly against the AS engine. Wonderful.
Yep. So now I can hit OK, and now I put
look at that
query I want right here in Excel. And then now I can do whatever I want with it in Excel, make a chart, add more data, do whatever I want here. And now, but this is connected. So if I want to get the latest data, I can just right click and refresh, right? So
this is so helpful.
Exactly. So, and this is really fast. So a lot of times, like you have some, so you want to just get just a segment, just a subset of that data. And what this is also including in that DAX query is this calculation is already done for me. And I did that in that query, right? If I go back to my query here, right? That's let me see if I can zoom in at least here.
And that's not a measure. You inline calculated it with the DAX statement to begin with in the summary statement. So it's grabbing things, summarizing them, and then calculating your divide statement right at the end there.
Exactly. So nice. So I can add in all these things. And so really that's the tip I wanted to show today. I mean, it's pretty short. And then
great tip. Two tips actually.
Two tips. Yeah. So one, you can kind of save these as, save them the query and put it into the URL, right? So you can have this kind of query up here. I can see if it's very long in the query, even though it's just a small kind of statement, it's actually quite long. You can create these links in Python in the Fabric notebook, or you can just use kind of VS Code and utilize this kind of a Python function. I'm going to put this up on my blog probably later today.
And in the chat window, I have the link for this one. So Michael Kowalski has already documented it. It's on his. He's amazing. He's done. We're at Semantic Link Labs. I think it was. What do you have here? 9.6 or something like that. But I already have the link for that. So the link is already in the chat window. So if you want to check out the chat, I'll put that there. I'll also make sure I update the description with the link to generating the DAX query URL as well. So I'll make sure that everyone is aware of and how to go find the documentation of that as well. So a very good example there. Well, thank you very much for the demo. I really appreciate it. That was awesome. Good demo. Getting into Excel, pulling tables in. Again, another landing point for, as you become more comfortable with writing DAX, I really do think the DAX query view will be more and more of your friend. I'm using it more and more frequently. It's becoming part, like that and Tyndall editor, Tyndall view are becoming like really part of my normal workflow. So thank you very much for making such a great feature. We really appreciate you doing such a good job with this one. We hope you do a little bit of exploration there as well. Go use DAX query view, build a DAX query, go take it over to Excel, go grab some data from there. That's another opportunity for you to use an integration point directly to Excel, which is awesome. And we think you'll like it as well. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yep. And it works. And one more final thing, Mike, right? It works on any storage mode, right? It's import, direct query, direct lake.
That's true too.
All of them, right? There's no limitation on kind of storage.
Very good to call that one out as well.
So good to know.
I'm loving Direct Lake, by the way. Direct Lake is becoming so good for me over the last couple of months. I've really been enjoying Direct Lake as well. So keep up the good work. Thank you, Zoe, for the tutorial today. We hope everyone enjoys this one. Go check out our series. There's actually a whole YouTube series with Zoe and I and other quick tips as well. If you want to learn more about DAX things, those are also on our YouTube page. Go check this out and stay tuned. We'll keep doing these if you like them. So keep liking the video and we'll keep bringing you excellent content around DAX query view and DAX in general. Thanks, Zoe. Talk to you later.